All right, we in here. Stage, live on stage.
Sharing and I'll be joining in.
Want to get the vibes going. Let's do it. Yeah. This that incense music right here. You know what I'm saying? It's where you get your tea. Hopefully you're cracking open a window. You know what I mean? Letting some of the sunlight in. We in here. Let's do it. Me and Tim looking like a Jamaican bobsled team right now. You know what I mean? Cool runnings. Good morning. It is a gorgeous day here in the city of Columbus, Ohio, in the capital city. We appreciate you for tapping in. Adrian is in here. We in the building. Today is Good Friday. If you have been blessed to wake up, then that should be enough for you. If you have been blessed to have breath in your lungs, the functionality of your fingers and toes, and all 5 of your senses, then all praise due to the Most High. We're going to bring the third person in. Walli is in the building. Again, Tim has given all of us the liberty to say, let's get here before we go live, you know, because when we do certain things before we go live, we don't want any of that before we go live. So I appreciate the time they have allowed me to go ahead and get myself together and come back to the center. And this is what we're going to be talking about today. I'm not going to give that away. Tim is in the building. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm blessed. I'm doing good, man. Shout out to y'all. Like, I know we say this every time. Me and Delayne was pushing 2 years in this thing. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like that.
Do you see the numbers growing, man? Do you see the numbers? Yeah.
We wouldn't be able to do this without you. Keep that in mind.
Absolutely.
Give yourself the glory.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you for the interaction too. You know, because you guys are interacting more, which means that you're listening. And before we get started, Tim, explain what shadow work is, because you've been saying shadow work for the past 2 or 3 months, and then Walli has been putting that into her, repertoire as well. So for the people who constantly hear the word shadow work, what is that actually?
So for me, shadow work is digging deep down to find the root of what the issue is. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think a lot of times when we're healing, we go after, we see the concept as a dead tree, and we're trying to pick off all the leaves, but it ain't going to change the state of the tree. And the shadow work is going after the root. You got to pull up the root of what's going on, and that's going to explain everything else. And a lot of times, let's say we didn't get enough attention as a kid, and it shows when we get older, we have detachment issues. We constantly seeking validation. You know what I mean? So the shadow work will be figuring out, like, why do I do that? Sure. So when you do that work and you're healing, you'll look back like, okay, I wasn't paid attention to all the time as a kid. Sometimes I run excited, there's nobody to show, so we always get back to the root. And it's not to condemn someone. It's to understand ourselves better and understand why we're having this undesirable behavior. You know what I mean? So shadow work is all about accountability. It's trying to figure out how you play a part in what's going on versus how you can blame other people for what they did to you.
Okay. That's awesome, because I've been seeing certain things, even the Kevin Hart, where he was saying that unforgiveness will keep you stuck. I mean, and you'll stay at that level until you can start to really look inward and look at yourself before you can actually move forward. So I really like that. Yeah.
And it's more so a literal term. It's literally you're going after the things that you hide in the dark, the things that you keep away from yourself, keep yourself privy from, the things you distract yourself from. You know what I mean? Because that's your healing journey. A lot of people don't understand, like, darkness is not a real concept. There's only thing that exists is light. Darkness is the absence of light. So it just means there is no light present. That's what it is. So in the darkness, there's nothing to fear. There's no boogeyman. There's no monsters. There's only parts of yourself that you haven't discovered yet. The parts that you're too afraid to look into.
Exactly.
Wow.
So that's the point of shadow work for me.
I was going to say, yeah, that's what I kind of tap it into. When I first started using the terminology, it made me understand that my shadow has always been there with me.
Yeah.
Like, whether, like you said, whether the light was absent, my shadow was still present, like a hue of a representation of my body, of where I walk, where I go, the things I've seen, the things I've done has always been there from the time I came Earthside. And so for me, it was tapping into even my parents, how they shadow, how the people who had been in my life had shadowed over me or had been over me, or I shadowed them per se. You know, when you go to shadow someone, you're kind of learning, shadowing today, like he said. Sure. We're all learning from one another.
Sure.
You know, if I come and shadow you on the job, I'm learning. I'm going to do everything you do. I'm going to hit the switches you hit. And I'm going to, and until somebody show me different or learn different.
Sure.
You know, I'm applying your work to mine. That's a part of my shadow work, in terms of watching someone else and mimicking after someone else.
You know, and that's funny because the one thing about shadow work is that I was forced to do shadow work not by myself. I know, and so as I was explaining, those 2 years that I so-called remained in solitude, I was really doing none of the work. I was just, you know, in a shell, hiding and not really dealing with things. I mean, I had peace. What I thought was peace. It was like I wasn't dealing with people. I was going to work, but I actually wasn't doing any of the work inside of me, because the reason why I knew I didn't do any of the work is when I got into the relationship and all this stuff started coming back out. And I'm like, yo, I really want this to stop within me, right? Not even trying to find fault in the other person, but, you know, operating from a place of trauma, I was still trying to find fault in that person. But I said, okay, let me take a step back and do some work. So the hardest thing was when you do shadow work in front of somebody, it's actually like, it feels like you're undressing in front of that person. It feels like you're getting, and that's a whole nother level of vulnerability. Because you want to keep this person around. You don't want to say, okay, I need you to go away while I work on myself, because you're already in it, right? So, but just to actually say like, okay, now that we're in it, I still have a lot of work to do. So that's a vulnerable state.
And to me, that it's something that can actually aid your relationship, because when you're being that transparent, it's just another form of communication. They're getting to know you on a different level. And a lot of us men feel like we have to be tough and have to be hard. So that safe space with us a lot of times is in that relationship where we feel like I can let my guard down. I don't got to be the hardest nigga alive. You know what I mean? But that's the communication that we should be seeking from the other party. They make us feel that comfortable to de-road. If you feeling uncomfortable, do not take your clothes off. Like, go home. You know what I mean? You got to be in a space where you don't feel judged. But also there has to be some reciprocation. They have to also kind of be shedding them layers. You know what I mean? You can't see them putting on more coats. Like, nah, we taking stuff off.
That's the hardest part is when you want to be vulnerable, but the person in your hut doesn't want to be vulnerable, because it makes you feel like, well, dang, it's like sex. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm undressed. What are you still dressed for?
How do you do this? You do a little differently, right? But I think that too fits into like a narrative we played especially when we were younger. We didn't have the courage to just ask a woman, like, are we having sex? You know what I mean? We hoped it just led to that.
You're right.
You ain't sleep.
Yeah.
On the bed laying, you supposed to be sleep. You done stayed up for 6 hours hoping that she a scoop back, hoping that she
looking for the signs all night. She knocks, she's snoring. It's over.
So when Benjamin's finna pull up too. That was supposed to be a surprise, man, but you know, come on through anyway. One of your people. So how do you deal with that? Because it's like there was a part in tonight's conversation where it said if you do have like an age range or a maturity range, you can't just force that person. You know, if you've traveled far or you've lived a life, you can't force that person to, you know, not grow up, but get up to your level fast. Or, you know, you have to allow that person to experience life as well,
right,
according to their speed and their pace. You can't speed up. That's what tonight's conversation is. It's like, if it doesn't necessarily have to be age, but even experience, you can't force that pace with that person as well. So, for example, I'm at a point in my life where, you know, I'm almost 50 now, right? So there's a lot of things I want to go right. So I force myself to do the work. I force myself to be open, vulnerable, and things of that nature, because I used to be reactionary and still am reactionary.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, I see myself changing on a day-to-day basis. Like, yo, I'm really proud of myself, because normally I would have reacted this way, but now I'm reacting this way. So when you have a person that's operating at their own pace, again, going back to the example, I'm fully clothed, jumping out, and this person is slowly peeling layers. You know what I'm saying? How do you deal with that dynamic?
Yeah, so I love your analogy, because what you just described is the shadow work. When you have that revelation of like awareness and you're like, oh shit, I do that. That's shadow work. That's, you know what I mean, the whole nine. So for me, how I deal with it, it's mostly discernment, because it's so many situations and variables in life. It has to be case by case. We can't have an idea how we're going to handle 10 different situations.
Sure.
So for me, it's discernment. It depends on if you align with what I'm trying to do or not. Because a lot of times we think we're looking for something until we get into the situation. For me, it was when I was younger, when I was dating. And you think like, okay, I want the girl untouched. I want the virgin. I'm gonna try that. And then you date them and it doesn't work. You're like, damn, I kind of want you to have experience. I kind of want somebody to break your heart already. Like, you just don't understand certain things.
Right.
So for me, how I deal with it is I had to remove myself, because I talked about on the show, a lot of times you're only playing one or the other roles in somebody's life. You're there while they're healing, or you get the healed version of them, but you rarely get to experience both. Because the way that you have to help them heal, they're going to somewhat resent you when they're healed. They're not, because they're not attracted to the same things anymore. And vice versa. You know what I mean? So for me, I think you have to decide, what role are you trying to play in their life? Do you want to be here in the long term? Because if I want to be here in the long term, a lot of times I release that. I've told them, like, go get in a couple relationships, like go make some bad decisions. And let's try again. Wow. Because we're constantly going to be off tilter. And a lot of people that I've been with in those relationships were constantly trying to mark my progress or trying to tag along. And we on two different wavelengths. And if we on two different wavelengths now, the people we evolve into are going to be on two different wavelengths, and so on and so on. And so I have to, I know better, because I understand what's happening. So I have to nip it in the bud. And it's unfortunate, but a lot of times when you do have that awareness, you have to be the bigger person. You have to be the responsible one saying, like, I'm out of place. She's looking for love, and that makes sense. I'm just looking for an F buddy right now. I got to step back. Okay. I can't even change what I want or make her think that's what I want. You dig what I'm saying? And hopefully she changes her mind. Sure. You feel me? And I think that's a lot of times why misfortune follows us around, because we're not being honorable. We're not deciding to walk away. Like you said, we're reacting. And like younger us would have did. Yeah. But me right now is like, what's best for you?
And it is challenging to do that. Because like I told you about my one friend, you know,
that's a fact.
He ended up blocking me because he was like, you're just here and I'm not there.
Yeah.
And I was willing to, like, okay, it's fine that you're not here. Like, you know.
Yeah.
Don't think that I'm better than you. And don't think that I'm higher than you. Like, we could still be friends and see where this can go. But he didn't even want to see where it can go because he felt like I was so far advanced for him in certain areas than where he was willing to go.
Because a lot of times we don't have to do anything in that situation because it's their journey. You know what I mean? Right. Like, I can't make you not be intimidated. I can't make you feel comfortable with how I live my life.
Right.
You feel me? And I think a lot of times we're held responsible for someone else's feelings or someone else's pace in life. Your pace is predicated on your habits, on what you do every day. So I can give you a lesson until I'm blue in the face. I can go to school with you until I'm blue in the face. You still got to do the work at home. So when you show back up to me in class, I mean, I can give extra credit. I can stay longer hours. But if you're not doing what you want in the beginning, this thing will never metabolize. You know what I mean? And I think it affects us on the back end in this situation. Let me read this quote.
Let's do it. Let's go.
Because this is one of my favorite quotes ever. This quote, a lot of people became privy to it in Coach Carter, which is one of the most fire movies ever. But the quote is, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us the most. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, or fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. You playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not in just some of us, it is in everyone. And we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. So to me, that is your highest self. That is walking in enlightenment. That is understanding, like, yes, some people are not going to like that I'm successful. Some people are not going to like that people are attracted to me. They want to approach me. They want to be friends with me. But we can't let that detract us from our journey, because my journey is to be my best self.
Right.
You know what I mean? Despite everybody, it's to be my best self, even to an extent of getting with my children. And I think that's where a lot of people have issues, because they have these boundaries. They're certain of how a person should treat you because of y'all's title. They're certain of how I should be with you because none of my other relationships have worked out, so this one got to work out. Wow. And a lot of times we sign up for these journeys that are not ours, and it's overwhelming, and we don't know what to do because we will never have the answers. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's for them to figure out how I make sense in your life. I know how you make sense of my life. I don't have to validate any. I don't have to prove that to you. I don't owe you nothing. I know that, and I treat you accordingly. So I had to learn I can't treat you accordingly to make you treat me accordingly. I got to treat you accordingly just because that's what I want to do.
Right.
You feel
Absolutely.
me?
Hey, get up in here, please. We got Adrian on the check-in. Trinae's on the check-in. Ben is on the check-in as well. If you are on the check-in right now, please say hi. Make yourself known. We want to say hi to you as well. Please share this as well. And if you are next to that like button, go ahead and hit that like or heart, because we dropping some bombs today. Yeah. So let me ask you a question then, because I hear this word a lot, incompatible, right?
Yeah.
But a personality is a personality. So this is what when we say we want somebody to change their personality, whether that we feel like they're too confrontational or we feel like they're too opinionated or what have you, that could necessarily be that person, So what part of it is like, man, if I can't accept this person for what they are, do we wait it out, or do we say, saying this is who this person is? Because a lot of times the confrontation that people say is just that they haven't done their own shadow work, so everything offends them.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the answer to your question, honestly. Like, it's really based on the person. You know what I'm saying? If I have issue with everything, like I just take issue with things that shouldn't bother me, it's my feelings. Mm-hmm. I'm in control of that. You can't control my feelings. You understand? So how you are, how you move, if you're short-tempered, if you're loud, if you're obnoxious, if you smack your food, smack your teeth, whatever. Exactly. That's you. Mm-hmm. I have to figure out, why am I so bothered by who you are?
There it is.
How you're showing up. If this is your best version, if your worst version, still, why is it bothering me?
Right.
Why is it affecting me so much? Because that plays a higher part to me. It's a higher on me.
Yeah.
I'm the only one here that can change shit that deals with me. I can't change anything that deals with you.
That's real. And a lot of times I feel like that is what's keeping us from our highest self. We're trying to understand why someone else's journey ain't working for them, or why they can make money doing this and I can't. Right. Why they can say these things and people don't get mad. They say that's not your business. Your only business is your journey, is your responsibility, it's your temperament, it's the energy you put in the world, and it's the expectations or lack thereof that you have. That's the only thing we can control.
My eyes got wide because British Walli just came out. I was like, yo, what's happening right now? I love it. British Walli just came out.
She's supposed to be on the show, man, because I'm supposed to be practicing. All of my podcasts should sound like this.
What's going on, Robert Riley? One of the baddest drummers in the state and probably the nation right now. He is a bad cold drummer from the Liquid Crystal Project. He is on the check-in right now. Amar, thank you so much.
Hey, Brody on the check-in.
Bro, hey, what's up, Jay? Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the way I see it.
Yeah. Mario's like, wait a minute, where's she from? Somebody else like that, too.
I'm right here.
So, again, because we have these personality clashes, we are forcing people to change at our pace instead of their pace. And that's what, but then again, if we all, got our way, then everybody will be breaking up at this point.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So everybody can't get their way.
And it's hard to say forced because it's a choice for everybody. We suggested this way, but I don't, because I don't want to recruit anybody. You know what I mean? I really feel like everyone should do what they enjoy. And it's because you're going to be able to maintain a certain level of excellency when things get hard. But when you're doing things you don't really care about, you get lackadaisical, you get mediocre. You know what I mean? And those are the words that scare me. Like normal. Like I ain't shit about me normal. And these are things that we challenge ourselves with, yes, but your people is going to feel it. You know what I mean? You got 10 bosses, you're going to create 11. You got 10 bums, you're going to create 11. Your people feel who you are. That's why they're around you.
Right. And that's why you got to show up as the best version of yourself, because you're going to attract wherever you are. So if you're pretending to be a lesser version of yourself, you're going to attract people who are at that space. Yeah. And you're going to even convince yourself to be in a relationship that you may not be in because you haven't figured out who you are, where you're supposed to be, and what you're supposed to be doing. Right. Which would be the main goal.
Oh, sure. It's a good. Can you see the questions?
Yep, I can see.
Can you say the last one?
Yeah, random question is reciprocity in the same category as karma, or you reap what you sow? You want to
that was beautiful. Yeah. That was beautiful. Go ahead.
I would say that reciprocity is an individual journey. Reciprocity is what you actually put in. Karma could be what you put in and what's been over your family or who you're attached to.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I like that. To me, they're in the same family. They're cousins. They ain't siblings. They ain't twins. But they're in the same family. They're along the same lines. To me, reciprocity is matching energies. Karma is consequences. You know what I mean? So yeah, they're along the same lines. But I think they both kind of feed into you reap what you sow. Yeah. And I think that's the point of the lesson. You know what I mean? We say that on the show all the time. What you feed will grow. Mm-hmm. So as much as we're looking for a particular outcome, you can't pray on it. Like what you feed will grow. You got to pour into the outcome that you're expecting to happen. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But I do think reciprocity and karma are a natural part of life. I think man-made definitions, they're trying to turn certain words off to us so we don't use them because they resonate in us, they enlighten us. I can communicate better with my sister with these kind of words. So they, like shadow work, they try to demonize the words. Right. You feel me? But to me, this is actually the marker of someone caring about the relationship. If I show reciprocity, if I'm conscious of the karma, I'm showing you I care about you. I'm showing you I value. And sometimes that's the only way we can do it. And with society, we've ignored those things for so long. Now our value is, what can I buy you? What can I say to you? How good is the sex? How often do we go out? It doesn't have things to do with principles and morals, you dig? But that was a great question.
Very great question.
A lot of relationships right now, and we're always dealing with these roles, right? Mm-hmm. Who's leading, who's not, and we're getting to the point where both are leading in the areas of their strong point. Yeah. So it's always like you said, if I'm doing something out of the genuineness or kindness of my heart, I shouldn't just be expecting things to happen. Exactly. But at the end of the day, I should feel something. I should feel something receptive to say, okay, we're looking out for each other. So it's not a tit for tat, but there should be something that I should feel that we are looking out for each other.
So what you're talking about is, it's called your highest excitement. So this is how we live in the law of attraction. You should be going after your highest excitement, because when you're in your highest excitement, this is when you're going hand to hand with your highest self. Y'all are eye to eye. You can relate to them. You get it. Like, okay, life isn't all bad. Life can be all good. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So these are the things that we have to pay attention to. But again, when you're in a state of desperation, you're overlooking those things in your friends. You're overlooking, are you really excited in your job? You know what I mean? Does your craft, does your art excite you? You overlooking that because you're trying to get rich, or you think about the 10 years when you wasn't able to make art. You feel me? And these are the things we gotta release. This is where I say forgiveness is a self journey. You have to forgive yourself for being your lowest self. You have to forgive yourself for the version you created to survive. You needed that person. Right. You don't need them today, but a year ago you needed that person. You know what I mean? So that's where we're learning to give our grace with this, but that's the karma we're living in. We constantly condemn things we did in the past. We constantly look in the past like, I should have did that. I was an F-boy. You know what I mean? you gotta forgive yourself for that, bro. You have to.
I want to address Mario. This is what I want to address. It says, "Hey, you said you attract what you are. I seem to attract users and manipulators. That is definitely not my lane." I want to address this first.
I'm gonna speak on that too.
Because from experience, right, and I've gotten from this show, when you do the shadow work and you dig up the root, you have to go even to a parental influence, right? So, there's a lot of things that can, and I'm not speaking on your life, I'm speaking a lot of times when we attract manipulators in our life, there could have been a parental manipulator, like a mom or, a dad or something like that, to where we feel like we have to save them or be the parent and things of that nature. So once, like Tim said, once you have this in your system, you don't even realize subconsciously you're saving people that are bloodsuckers because you haven't really done the shadow work yet that says, man, my mom was a manipulator. My sister was a manipulator. My dad was a manipulator. And basically I had to, walk on eggshells and do these certain things or save these people or at least try to bring some balance to the household. Yeah. So therefore, you can feel like, because a lot of times, Mario, just because we're intelligent or we know how to survive, that doesn't mean that we're well, right? So we're functioning. We're carrying around functional trauma, right? So at the end of the day, we could have graduated from college. We could have gotten the best jobs. We could have gotten a lot of things right. But at the end of the day, that breakdown is really happening inside. And we're like, man, why I keep tracking this piece of shit? Or why I keep tracking this BITCH or this garden tool, so to speak. And it's because, you were influenced by that person and you wanted to save that person. But you haven't really tapped in to that part where I gotta free myself or heal myself from that. Go ahead.
And that's I was gonna say that is the law of attraction working. That's why they say opposites attract. If you create a restaurant, you're gonna get hungry people. You're not gonna attract other restaurateurs. That's what it means. You attract what you are, not literally what you are. You attract what you need because there has to be the yin and yang. It has to fill one side. So if you bring the light, guess what? Darkness is coming. If you bring the darkness, you usually try to attach to people of the light. They're usually trying to siphon your light energy. So your highest self is going to attract everything. But the laws of attraction is saying what you allow. This is why you have to have discernment. You dig what I'm saying? So you can attract whatever you want, but I don't have to receive that just because it's pulling near me. I can reject that. I can move around. I don't have to accept it just because someone's trying to give it to me. So that's what you should be accepting. This is why we always use the Bible as that example. Like Jesus hung with pimps and hookers and gangsters. You think that's what he was attracting? You think that's who you did what I'm saying? So that's the point. You are getting what you need. We were put on earth because of what we need. I was not put on here to hang around people that are like me. I was put on here to hang the people that can learn something from me, that need me. People who are going through now at 18 what I had to go through at 18. I'm not like the healed version of me at 40 that I'm going to get to hang with. That's not how life works.
And this is what happened. I hate to be religious, but this is what happened in the church. The church had it was like a hospital with a bunch of well people. And so therefore they wanted in the church everybody to be well. It was like, no, it's supposed to attract the sick people, the people who are broken down. But as soon as these broken down people came into the church, they rejected them. Like, oh no, you can't do this here and this and that and the other. So I agree with what you're saying.
And sometimes it fits into our selfishness of us thinking we are these just higher, holier than thou people. Who said there's anything wrong with being a user and manipulator? I can think of a lot of good instances where I would need to do those things.
And we naturally do those things anyway. Like we naturally manipulate. I mean, whether you manipulate in your head,
since we were children,
in a certain hairstyle, you manipulate when you're cooking, like all of these things. But again, like we talked about earlier before the show started, certain words are looked and are demonized, right? They don't want us to. Oh, I just did that.
You back. It's all good. You'll be back. But no, it's a lot of words that we use commonly that our ancestors have used have been demonized. And again, because those are the words that enlighten us. That's what gives. One of the greatest gifts that we received as humans is life has no meaning. Life is meaningless. So our point on earth is to decide what life means. It's to designate meaning to what we're doing. That's manifesting. That's how powerful it is. That's you surrounding yourself with everything you do. You want to learn how to cook? First thing I'm doing is going to watch Hell's Kitchen. I'm watching Gordon Ramsay every day. I'm getting a cookbook. I'm turning the stove on. I'm hitting my sister up. I know she cooked. You got to surround yourself with that things. And yeah, some of those people are going to be users and manipulators, but this is why I live in my security. I live in my principle, because maybe I'm just I needed a good friend. How am I not using you?
Right.
Maybe I think you're funny. I'm using you because you make me feel better. Because your jokes turn my day around. You know what I mean? Yes, so this is where we got to get out of looking at words with negative connotation. We have to stop assigning negativity to things. Again, what you feed will grow. Things inherently don't have any energy. We put the energy into it. So we have to be mindful of that, of how we speak in all of these little instances. That's why I had to stop saying when I was younger, I hate liars. You know what I mean? Them be the most lying motherfuckers that be saying that.
I had Ty break it down to me one time.
Nobody likes when it's on the other foot.
Yeah.
Nobody likes that. When it's on the other foot,
sometimes actually lie because they want to preserve your own feelings.
Sometimes, yeah.
Like they actually, even in lying, sometimes people are actually still looking and like, okay, I know if I know that you're emotionally not ready to hear what I have to share with you, me lying to you could be better than telling you the truth.
Right.
No.
Which is a form of manipulation. I mean,
I
never from the liar's standpoint.
I don't agree with it, but I understand.
I understand it.
From the liar's standpoint, not necessarily from the person's getting lied to.
When you read books like How to Win Friends and Influence People, it does have a chapter or part where it says people don't like the brutal, honest truth.
Right.
Doesn't mean that you should lie, right? Because basically once, that perception is breached, you can no longer come back to that level of respect anymore. Yeah. Once I know that you've deceived me or manipulated me or you've lied to me, that's until you've built up that whole thing of trust, and that can take a lifetime. So I would say that, lying really never has its place. It's just sometimes you reserve the truth. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just hold your tongue and say, like, for example, if your wife is in the mirror and she says, "Baby, do I look fat?" You try to change the subject.
Now,
you know what I'm saying? Or you try.
Please tell her she's fat. Set her free.
It's easy for you to say that.
It's easy for you.
Exactly. Can't just say that. Yeah. Don't say that.
So we're not going to lie.
But don't lie to
her. Hey, listen, you are bigger than you were before.
But see, that's why it's a slippery slope, because admitting the truth is still lying. That's what I mean. You can't say you hate liars unless you just always tell the truth. Because if you admit the truth, you're lying. If you alter the truth, that's a lie.
And that's what I meant by saying. That's what I meant by saying, like, somebody may not tell you the full truth because you may not be in an emotional or mental space to hold the truth. So you're not going to lie to the person, but you're going to say it in a way, sauce it up to where they feel better.
And that can also be toxic, because a lot of people are just being messy telling you the truth. Like, if you can find out the truth through your own means, I'm going to allow you to do that. It's not my job to reveal your truths to you. Exactly. So a lot of times people are trying to gain a favor. Like, "Oh, Delayne, remember I told you the truth a week ago? Let me hold $50. Like, nah, see, this is why I don't want nothing from you.
But this is why, honestly, this is why people don't like me. And this is for, and I've just now gotten to this point, but it's like, I will take criticism. I will take it. But the minute I hold that light up to somebody else, oh, you doing tit for tat, or you doing this, I'm like, no, hold this light too, because basically you're not perfect. I'm going to take your criticism. And what makes it so bad, they don't even realize that I've given them grace. Yeah. I've given them so much grace. I've let them be critical. And the minute I say, boom, okay, you're not perfect either. Oh, what do you mean? I'm like, no, let's, if we're going to be friends, if we're going to be in the hut together, let us all come to the in front of the congregation and admit what we did.
And I've been in that situation, and for me, that's difficult. And then we're going to read some of the comments, because somebody had to go. But for me, that's difficult for me. You know what I mean? I know people aren't perfect, but I have a certain level of expecting, you know what I mean? Like common sense. Like, if I'm holding a whole bunch of bags and you see the door closed, you open the door for me. Exactly. I shouldn't have to say nothing. You know, in a perfect world. I get it. But to me, it's because it demeans the act. Now I feel like I'm telling you what to do. Right. Versus you wanted to hold the door open for me. You wanted to look out for me. You wanted to make sure I had help. So sometimes that's why it's hard in friendships. It's hard to call that person like, "Yo, you don't call me enough." Because it's like, now I feel like you only called me because I said something. You know what I mean? And I think we're getting into this point with life. Like, this is where I walk away. When I feel like I have to dim my light to be your friend, when you don't understand the grace I'm giving you, when you don't understand how I'm showing restraint in this conversation and you trying to double down on me,
right?
I have to pull out. You feel me? That's what the quote was about. And a lot of times we're in those dynamics and we dim our light to make other people feel secure. We dim our light to make them feel like we're not upset with them. We tell them lies to make them, because we know the truth is too much for. We watch how the truth is kicking your ass up and down the street.
You say, no, I'm okay.
We know you. We know you hate the truth in any form that it comes in.
I want to answer Eric before we get started.
Okay,
Eric,
there's a lot of comments.
Eric, we don't really troll on this. I know you troll a few podcasts, but we don't troll here. That's my guy, though. Yeah. I want to point out that the 3 cameras are basically so we can all see each other. So yes, we are all in the same room, but based on the app we're using, we don't have 3 separate cameras. We have 3 separate phones. Love it, so and the fans love it. And
we had a question too.
Oh, I saw a couple.
Yeah, dude, Eric had a good question. And,
okay. Are you talking about manipulating?
Yeah, truth is very difficult. Yeah.
Manipulating someone and enjoying another person's company is totally different from one another.
See, that's where I would have to wholeheartedly disagree.
We don't disagree much, so let's see.
Because that is manipulation. Like me taking Walisha to the ice cream shop and saying, get whichever you want, but kind of deciding which ones I want her to have, or tell her like, yeah, this one's good. You should try this one. That is manipulation. And I can sit and say, but I gave her ice cream. It's a good thing. You are manipulating her. If you don't allow somebody free will, you are manipulating them. You can dress it up however you want. If I'm lonely and I'm watching this movie myself, I'm like, man, I'm going to call a homie to come watch it with me. That is manipulation. You had whole other plans that you was doing. I convinced you to drop that to come do what I wanted you to do. How is that not manipulation?
So that means you saying people in sales are manipulated.
100%. That's why I got out of insurance. Like, because I when I realized, because they pay you that quick money and you ain't thinking about it. But when you start to realize you're hurting people, you're giving them misinformation, they sign up for phony loans, and you know what I mean? Like, it's all manipulation. The Dollar Tree, that's manipulation. Raising that 25 cents. That's manipulation. And they kept it at $1 and they kept it at that point because they knew you was gonna get comfortable. But in the back of their mind, they knew one day I'm gonna raise this price on you.
But so even kids, what's going on, big dog? We got Brian in the building.
What's good, Jay?
Is it your uncle, baby daddy?
No, it's neighborhood stepdaddy.
The neighborhood stepdaddy is in the building. So kids, this is why I'm saying that kids are liars. Yeah. When they come out, and it goes back to the Bill Cosby scenario where, you tell the kid, don't touch that cookie, don't touch it. And so therefore, they wait until you're distracted and they go try to grab the cookie again. Exactly. And be like, didn't I just tell you, not to get it? And they were like, I was getting a cookie for you. No, you wasn't. You're lying. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But you just trying to avoid.
Lying. I'm just trying to get out to hot seat.
You're lying. But you're lying.
As a child, am I really lying?
Yeah. Because you got to call a spade a spade. Things can't go 2 ways. I think that's why the world's so divided. We're trying to see both sides of something, and we just got to see the truth in it. Like, you lied, and you may have got what you want, and it may not have been the end of the world, but it's still a lie. And this is, to me, the separation between parent and child. Because now a parent can call a child a liar and a manipulator, but you are manipulating them too. By how you are raising them and teaching them, even if you're giving them good principles, you are manipulating them. You're telling them, well, don't do that, it can kill you. Don't do that, it get you 20 years. That's manipulation.
Right. And when we were younger, we wasn't allowed to call people liars. When we were younger.
Exactly.
We wasn't allowed to call them liars.
But you can call me a liar. You see, this is what she was talking about earlier, is reciprocation and karma, the same thing. This is how now it's the same thing. Right. Because your karma has become the fact that you've created an environment that's not reciprocal for me, but you have expectations for me I can't have for you. If I get in trouble at school, you can whoop my ass. When you a dummy at work, I can't whoop your ass. Right, exactly. So we already imbalanced. There is no way we can grow in a healthy environment. This is the beauty now of growth and progression. Things can only grow in the truth. You cannot progress in a lie. You have to keep telling more lies to cover up that lie.
So now we get to our topic of the discussion today. Okay, so now it's hard to manipulate an emotionally intelligent person. So now, please, before we get into this discussion, explain to the people what emotional intelligence is. People are associating with men now, but it's a human thing.
It's for everybody. To me, emotional intelligence is knowing how you feel and knowing what state you're in, knowing the things that cause what you feel. On my healing journey, I tell people all the time, I love my triggers because it shows me where I need to get better. It shows me the chinks in my armor. It shows me where they're trying to break through the castle wall at, you dig? So for me, this is where you have to know yourself. This is the epitome of happiness. Happiness is not a smile on your face. It's not $1 million. It's being aware of how you feel. And also accepting that, not trying to fight it. Oh, I should be happy right now. I just got to promote. Like, you feel how you feel. Exactly. And then the shadow work is saying, well, I may feel this way because of this. You dig? And it goes deep. It could be your grandfather's grandfather that did this. He was a thief. Now you a thief.
So this is what I want you guys to hear this, and then we'll comment after this because I think Walli.
Women are seriously ready for emotionally intelligent men.
Kitty, what do you think? Okay, let's talk about what emotional intelligence comes with before we even get into this conversation, okay? We're talking about you wanting a man who is tolerant, who regulates his emotions, who also knows how to manage your emotions. But you're also talking about a man who knows how to navigate his sensitivities and everything else when it comes to that. But you have to consider that an emotionally intelligent man is good at cutting people off when he sees that your sensitivities bring too much reactivity. When he sees that you cannot regulate your emotions. When he sees that you have a low tolerance. This type of man that you are asking for is a man who will walk you out the door in a heartbeat. If he feels like you are disrupting his peace. If he feels like there's any level of disrespect, because there's a lot that comes with emotional intelligence. So if you asking for that, you got to come with the same level of emotional intelligence as well. Okay? That comes with a number of factors. So if you are a woman who knows that even though you may be sensitive to certain things like criticism, rejection, because you're not always going to be accepted. Sometimes he's going to bounce back. And sometimes he's going to say, I don't agree with your opinion. Sometimes he's going to say, I don't like those thoughts. Sometimes he's going to say, I don't like the way you speak to me. If you're not ready for that, don't be asking for an intelligent man.
And this goes back.
People ain't ready.
And this goes back to what DL Carey says. DL Carey says that I recognize that people don't recognize grace is given until it's pointed out, right? So therefore, when it's pointed out, you can't manipulate me because I already know that I've listened to you 10 times out of this one. So the time that I say, okay, let's talk about it, let's bring this to the center. The minute I get a reaction or I get a confrontation, it's like, yo, you know, are you not being able to take what you can give? Are you not being able to? Because I've listened to you this many times, but the minute I say something in regards to it's a rebuttal, it's a smart comment, it's a sarcastic,
like I knew things were over in my relationship because I was like, I had done all this work and I'm being quiet, I'm being patient, I'm intentionally listening to him. It was like all these things, he had a list of wrong things you don't do. And I'm like, okay, let me work on this. Once I started to work and I see it was like, it's no winning. I can't win. I cannot, there's no winning. Oh, okay, I see that there is a bigger issue. It's not just get your shit together. It's like you have an issue within yourself. So anybody can come correct and you'll still have a problem with them.
Well, see, the emotional intelligence of me is if I'm wrong, I want to do the work. I want to be better. So I will apologize. But then my emotional intelligence is like, okay, now you're becoming a tyrant. Right. Now it's getting out of hand. Now you've been a little bit more, you've been a little bit more vocal. And I'm not just talking about relationships, I'm talking about a lot of people in general. It's like, now you're trying to, have this one-upmanship on me. And I'm going to, as DL said, I'm going to point it out. And the minute I see that, that narcissistic reaction, I'm like, okay, I've brought it out, And a lot of people don't like that, about me. Because people don't like I hold that mirror up. Because I want to see the mirror. I want to see my flaws. Because, again, I go back to the Bible. How can two walk together except they agree? So I want to make myself somewhat palatable. Not all the way palatable, because I don't want to lose me in any relationship. Right. But I still want to make myself palatable to where this unified thing can happen.
Yeah, I'm looking at the comments, and I feel that. So Eric says it's impossible to be an emotional intelligent person inside a relationship, while DL Carey says emotionally mature versus emotionally intelligent. Yes, and I mean, I disagree with.
I disagree with a lot that Eric's saying today. I really do.
Because a relationship is only a reflection of who we are as individuals. So anything that we can do as individuals, we can achieve eventually to do together if we're aligned, if we're on the same wavelength. So no, I disagree. It's difficult, you know what I mean? But relationships are difficult, period. You're trying to mesh with somebody from a whole different walk of life for you.
Mirrors are used to reflect, not deflect.
Yeah, mirrors are
used to reflect.
Not deflect.
So a lot of times what people will say is, well, you only said something because I said something. I'm like, no, I've taken everything that you said.
Yeah.
But let's come to the center first. So I'm not deflecting. I'm just saying that once I see that, you know, your correction is becoming slightly abusive, I'm going to hold that mirror up and say, okay, you're not perfect as well. So let's come to the center of it. But I do understand tit for tat, because some people can be tit for tat.
But that's why things are a slippery slope. That's why I don't like when people try to moderate my tone, because then it's up to your discretion of whatever that number is. So this is why we don't get to tell people how to feel about things. But for me, when it comes to this, it's required. You have to be emotionally mature and have emotional intelligence to have a successful relationship. Anybody can get in a relationship. That don't mean it's working. That don't mean y'all happy. That don't mean y'all even talk to each other.
Yeah.
So we're talking about health. We're talking about a functioning relationship. Those things are already happening. It's like if you watch a good basketball team, you know what I mean? You would think they're not doing the fundamentals because they just do everything well so quickly, because they've done it so much. This is what we talk about on the show. Like, quickness is not built through speed, it's built through efficiency. When your relationship becomes that efficient, y'all can talk without communicating. People in public wouldn't even think that y'all talk to each other.
Yeah.
Y'all done had a whole conversation. You know what I mean? So this is why we can't gauge on the outside looking in. We got to look from within. So my quorum is not that the emotional intelligence is an issue in a relationship. I think a lot of times it's people's accountability. They are coming with expectations. That's manipulation. I'm apologizing to you, expecting you to forgive me. I just got to apologize, and I'm at the mercy if you want to forgive me or not.
Thank you.
I don't get to decide you got to forgive me now because I said I'm sorry. That is manipulation.
And Drea is right. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to let you jump in. I'm going to let you jump in, Walli. But Drea is right. And this is true, and this is why I've done a self-check. We should not be holding up a mirror in a defensive position. And this is why I said, Drea, that I will not even allow grace, because I don't mind correction. At this age in my life, if you say I'm going down the wrong path, I don't want to, I'm not the whole person that says, if loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. I want to be right. You know what I'm saying? I want to be on the side of right.
Yeah.
So therefore, I don't mind the correction. But again, my emotional intelligence will have me pick up in a minute. Like, okay, I think you're being a little abusive.
This speaks to more about the person who's dating the motherfucker holding up the mirror. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I am the mirror. I don't hold up no mirror. There is no defensive position. You deflect things with a shield, not with a mirror. A mirror would shatter if you send something at it. Like, I am the mirror. So a lot of people are wearing that mask. They're trying to pretend like they're enlightened. They're trying to pretend like they're holier than thou. That's why they're holding up a mirror in front of you. They're trying to simulate something. So you are in the wrong. You shouldn't be messing with people holding up mirrors.
Yeah,
man, that's your journey, not theirs.
I think too so if you're in a relationship and y'all, I think it's timing is everything, right? Like, I used to sometimes thought that the door was open. Like, okay, now that you're piling on this shit on my plate about what you got problem with me, let me give you my plate. Let me give my pile of shit that I've been holding in all this time. And so that was my issue. Right, I had to learn how to learn the timing, and learn how to speak up for myself in the now. Don't wait 2 weeks, don't wait a month, don't wait a year. If this is bothering you now and somebody disrespects you now, they need to know now, right?
Absolutely.
Not when they've been disrespected and they're bringing it to you. So my relationship, my past relationship, that was always, and I never saw it as tit for tat. I always saw it as I was always walking on eggshells, waiting for the door to be open for me to say my piece.
Mm-hmm.
But I already had peace to say what I need to say because I was in a relationship with this person. So it's any time to say what they disrespected you, to step on you, they do something, then that's when the time is to say it. And sometimes we in relationships, the balance is off, right? We wait, we hold all those things, and we take the punches because we're not right within ourselves. So we're holding it back because the spirit's not going to let us dump it all on them, because we need to figure out this is really our shit.
Yeah.
They've walked a certain way, they smacked their lips, they've done whatever, and it's bothered us so much that we want to now tell them, but it's our own problem.
Honestly, because going back to what Tim said 2 weeks ago, delivery is everything, is because if I want to be around this person, I want to be around their atmosphere, I'm going to study this person. So I'm going to understand how to deliver to this person. When I forego their sensitivities and things of that nature, that's where the manipulation comes in, is because I'm trying to push my way and I'm trying to get my way. But that emotional intelligence is going to pick up on that automatically. It says, okay, I'm willing for us, this thing to work, whether it's in a group setting, whether it's us, whether it's a man and woman situation, or a parent situation, boss, employee, I understand that you're my boss, but you don't get to abuse me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I understand that you're my husband or you're leading me, but you don't get to abuse me.
Yeah.
So my emotional intelligence is going to pick up on that to say, like you said, I am the mirror. So when this thing goes too far, we're going to bring this to the table. And how you react to when I bring this on the table lets me further know that you're trying to manipulate the situation.
To me, because how you're moving sets the tone to the relationship. This is why a lot of relationships have problems. Because they feel like this person has brought all these mirrors in the house. And they're like, why they bring all these mirrors in the house? Instead of you asking yourself, why does you seeing your reflection bother you? Like, why is that so hard for you to look at yourself in the mirror? You might not be ready for a relationship. Like, because every relationship is going to have these type of dynamics where it's going to show you parts of yourself that you've been trying to hide. You can do that when you're single. You can do that when you're sleeping around. When you with somebody that sees you every day, they see moments that you don't realize they're seeing. Moments where you just turned off and you just on autopilot. They're aware of what you're doing. And a lot of times we don't have that information when we're trying to understand, why does this person feel this way? Why are they stepping back from me? It's because they're getting to know you. They're getting to know you.
Before we go to the comments, another clear thing to say is that look at the play on words, emotional intelligence. Okay, we lack so much intelligence. You know, we're supposed to be the most intelligent beings that was ever created, but we lack so little of it. And with that being said, and with your history of your life, it's hard to become one. Because you have to become one within self first. That way, when you go to another person, you are quick to be in tune with those emotions, in tune with the things that are scarring you or that are making you happy or unhappy. Like, you have to take time to self first. That's the most important thing. Amar says, people don't like their own reflections when they are caught. Mm-hmm. This is so true. And this is on the smallest thing. We talked about this a couple shows ago, how you can be caught asleep.
Yeah,
and get so defensive.
I wasn't
like,
sleep.
Like, I was
you
watching
were
that.
snoring, fam. Like,
caught doing anything, and it's because of that emotional intelligence that we're talking about, right? Things that we live throughout our past, things that we took up and hold that was someone else's, and we've just been living it. And then it's something as simple as that we're like, oh, I wasn't. You know,
and to me, that's where you got to do shadow work and realize you have a burden of guilt. You feel guilty
about everything.
Yeah, it could be about anything, but that's what's leading out. Because again, this is what they mean when they say you are what you do. Like, if you're a guilty person, you're going to be guilty. You're going to find guilt in situations. It's going to be hard for you to sleep at night. You know what I mean? This will become a pattern in your life.
Right.
You dig? So this is now where we're getting to the point. This is the same concept with the relationships. And this is why I say the first relationship you have to learn to have is with yourself. Right. It will teach you these dynamics about being with another person, because that shouldn't be the hard part. But when we're trying to do what's best for us within a relationship, that's not going to work. It gets to the point where, yes, we have to be monitoring for both of us, but I am in charge of my progress. I'm in charge of my growth. You're in charge of yours. The part of the relationship where I love you is saying, I trust that you working on your shit. You ain't out here gambling our money. You ain't out here fooling around. I trust that you doing what you said you was going to do. Right. I have no expectations for you. When I met you, oh, yeah, I'm this type of girl. I do this. All right, bet. Show me. You know what I mean? And I ain't going to ask. I ain't going to wait around. Show me. Show me now or never.
Right.
So that is a challenge. That is pressure. But again, on my side, why would I want to be with somebody I can't challenge? I can't pressure. I can't call to being a higher version of myself. And I guarantee you expect me to be my best.
Exactly.
I guarantee you expect me to show up. You expect me to go to work. You expect me to take the trash out. I don't have no problem doing that as long as this is reciprocated. So this is how reciprocation leads to karma. When that reciprocation is not there, your karma becomes the lesson. You're constantly forced to learn what you missed out on.
Two things. Two things real quick. So Mario says, wow, at this point in life, I have learned to love people from a distance. They allow through their behavior. I no longer expect people to have some regard for values that I think it says I have.
That he has, yeah.
Okay. At the end of the day, people are going to keep peopling. So why keep hurting myself, my own feelings? And I like what
I agree with that.
What Eric said too. So let's get into what Eric said is that being emotionally intelligent weighs different for men than it does women. So here's what I want to stop happening. Stop emasculating emotionally intelligent men, right? Stop doing that, because we are emotionally intelligent, so we do have needs. We do have wants as well. Just like when I did repost Men are not avoiding marriage, they're avoiding divorce. And I wrote in my caption, we just want peace, actual love, respect. We don't go into marriage just to pay bills and spoil some ungrateful person, only to get a divorce to break us down even more financially. We only want to be happy and at peace with someone that we can build a legacy with. So when we actually have needs, we're not a bad bee, or we're not a sus or anything like that. We're emotionally intelligent, which means that, you know, I'm going to pour into you, but I also need to be poured into as well. Yeah. So stop emasculating that point of us.
But I don't think that's going to stop. This is a part of what we were saying as far as the law of attraction. When I want to be the best fighter I can be, I have to fight people. You know what I mean? I can't just say, people stop trying to fight me. I'm done with that. No, I have to be challenged in what I'm claiming that I am.
Right.
So if I'm an emotionally intelligent man, why does someone calling me sis bother? Why would that affect me? Maybe I'm not as emotionally intelligent as I think I am. You know what I mean?
I get that.
And I think this is the discrepancy. It's the wordplay. This is the same thing we play with truth and honesty, where people think that's the same thing.
Right.
And in this regard, is smart and intelligence. See, a lot of people are smart. Smart will win you Jeopardy. Smart is just knowing how to recite something. Mm-hmm. Intelligence is being able to apply that information to your life. So you don't just know this. I can see it because you do. You are this. That's what I mean. You are what you do.
But I don't want, because I totally understand that. But you know, on this show, I also want to educate as well, because like you said, we're the mirror, right? So when I do see these comments, I'm like, sis is misguided. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, but that's still manipulation.
She's a little misguided.
What if sis wanted to have a bad day? I don't have the right to say smile. Have a good day. I don't have the right to do that.
Right.
She's entitled to have her bad day. She's entitled to think this nigga's suspect. And the men who she's calling suspect are also entitled not to date her and not to look her way and not to spend no money on her and not to put no kid in you. So again, you choose what you feed will grow. Mm-hmm. If that's how you think you're going to attract fish, you're going to go hungry. That's the problem. So we're trying to get in their way because we're trying to, again, fix them. This is what we talked about in the beginning. We're trying to fix people. And the only reason I feel you would be trying to fix somebody else is to get into heaven. That is not going to benefit your life. No way, shape, or form. That's not going to make you rich. That's not going to make you loved. I feel like you're trying to do a good deed. You're trying to do a mitzvah. You feel me? You're trying to right your wrongs.
Right.
Manipulation. How is that not manipulation? So we manipulate all the time. It's just we live in this soft, cushy life to where I can call it out when they doing it, but when I'm doing it, it ain't like that. It's different. Right. Like, no, it's the same thing. It's the left shoe and the right shoe. It's the same pair.
So just to reiterate and break it down to its simplest terms, when you have the emotional intelligence and say, you know, as I said in the reel, I don't want that, you have the right to refusal at that point. So you don't get to fix that person. You just say, you know,
it's not for me.
Okay.
Because we run into slippery slopes when we're saying, well, this ain't gonna work out. Well, at least it did. What if I just say, this don't work for me?
Right.
Because now this doesn't affect her with the next person. She's not thinking, damn, well, at least it's this. She's like, that guy ain't it.
Right. Exactly.
So now immediately she's like, this guy can be it. Exactly. But if I plant that seed in her that she's the problem, she's gonna take that into every I've done her a disservice.
So you know what you're becoming though at some point in time. This is where the conversation gets good. You're becoming a Marcus Graham, because at this point you're breaking down each and every single person. So, oh, I'm getting rid of her because she got hammer time in her shoe, or she got the X, Y, and Z. So now you become a Marcus Graham, and Marcus Graham wasn't depicted as the most positive example to be when you're getting your shit together. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So a lot of times I think certain men, we say emotionally intelligent, but they're emotionally unavailable, right?
Yeah.
Because they're not tapping into people are not perfect. People
but I think
are not.
That
so
fits
what
into emotional intelligence too, being emotionally unavailable. I think all of that. That's why she said emotional intelligence is vast. It's not one thing. It's a whole construct.
But I see a lot of dudes who like, oh, as soon as the woman is a confrontation or she's opinionated, I can't deal with that.
But you already touched on that too.
Or as soon as the woman,
this is why I love duality, because we brought this up earlier in the show. Two things to be true. We brought this up earlier in the show. When the man starts to feel threatened and attacked, he will become the lowest version of himself to still maintain what he does for you, but not to lose himself. So again, this is what Denzel Washington had to ask white people. When the wolf keeps coming to attack the sheep, and the sheep starts to defend itself, is the sheep a monster? Is the sheep wrong? If you keep coming for me subconsciously and my subconscious starts attacking you, you don't get to make me the monster.
Right.
I'm defending myself.
Well said.
So if she's constantly waking up, you always on the game. You always with your homies. My subconscious is gonna start defending because you're attacking me. Right. A person would only defend themselves if they feel attacked.
Well said.
But that's the part
Drea, did you get that? Did you get that, Drea? Once that person feels attacked, and like I said, going back
I have the right to defend myself in any capacity.
This has been my problem all my life. I'll take that criticism. I'll take it. The minute I feel attacked, hey, that mirror comes right up. Boom. Okay, because I'm taking your shit. I'm taking your shit. Yeah. So therefore, I'm sorry, Spam.
Did you know that?
But let's call it spade a spade. That is another level of manipulation. Yes. A lot of me, I took your shit so that you can see I can take your shit so that it can pay well for me down the road. I didn't take it because I want to, because if I wanted to, I wouldn't be complaining about it right now. So I don't get to have it 2 ways. I played a game and I lost. I don't get to be upset.
Or it was beneficial.
Hold your head.
Okay.
Keep your mouth closed, you know what I'm saying? To not bring it to a problem. Like, let me not bring issue with this because I'm still getting this check, you know what I'm saying? And wait to the right moment to bring it to issue.
And I was listening to this.
So we all manipulate that. I mean,
we do. And I was listening to this on the pod and they were talking about that. And a lot of men were saying, well, women need to come out and start basically showing us the value up front. And the guy was saying the only reason it happens with that with men is because we have to show the value to get the ass. We ain't getting it without showing you my value. See, a woman doesn't have to do that. They don't have to show the value until marriage, until pregnancy.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying? So again, this is duality. This is how it's supposed to go. We can't get caught up in, well, I wish it, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. This is what it is. Either accept it or move out the way, because there's a lot of eligible bachelors that want to play the game. There's a lot of women that want emotionally intelligent men, but the problem is the internet allows 10 people to talk for 10 million. And y'all don't speak for all of us. You can't tell me what I'm looking for in a woman. Exactly. You can't tell me I'm the reason you wearing weed. Bro, I ain't never asked no woman go get your lashes done. You doing that for you, sis. You doing that for you.
So I
don't care about. I'm natural. I don't care about none of that.
I was trying to pull up the clip right on Brown Sugar. So if you watch the movie Brown Sugar with Tay Diggs and Sanaa Lathan, she's going out with the basketball player Bojo or Kojo, whatever his name, Kojo. So they're walking and talking. And she just turned to him and says, "You think you're gonna get some booty, don't you?" He said, "Well, ain't this what this is about? Laughing at your corny jokes.
Is this a game?
Ain't this what we do?" So it's a manipulation. So even while we're being nice, we also have what we really want, but we have to do certain behaviors to get what we really want.
But that's why we drag her feet. That's why we said we'll lay in the bed with her and don't say nothing about sex. We just expected her to bend over. You feel me? Like, that's because you were manipulating this entire situation. And when I started to grow and develop my relationships, I realized I don't have to do that, because that was kind of hurting my confidence using all these tactics. Because I'm like, damn, is you not sweet enough to do this on your own accord? And that's when I had to start learning and realizing why I didn't hang with certain people, because I can't hang with pillow talkers. I never use another man's name to get a woman. Like, that is just certain rules I live by. And that's because, again, it's going to start tearing you down. It's going to start asking you, like, damn, are you not good enough? Right. Can you not get on your own merit? What about, I thought you had a mouthpiece. Like, why? You know what I mean? And that's why we have to be challenged. That's why I don't mind people questioning my manhood. That's fine. Come square up, sis. You want to see how much of a man I am? Because don't judge me based on your rules. Give me fairness.
So let me.
You feel me? Like, give me something I can win in and then challenge me. But if you challenge me in something that you feel like I'm unfamiliar in, you want to see me fail. Like, it's that simple.
This your boy Trip. Hold on.
Shout out to the boy Trip.
Trip.
Let me see if I can.
Dude that's desperate enough to fake it. Yeah. I can't. You can't fake generosity. You can't fake humility. You can't fake service. You can't fake leadership. You can only put up a charade so long until Shorty realized none of those. But it's like, rather than look at the intangibles, because I ain't gonna lie, I personally got offended because they put coffee dates on there. I'm gonna give away one of my plays, man. I'm gonna give away one of my all-day plays. It's a play that doesn't miss. Super deep. Coffee, museum, bar.
I just got wet.
And no, it's coffee, museum, lunch bar.
There it is.
You owe food if you got somebody out there.
You gotta get food.
But check me out. Coffee dates strip people down. Yes, you may feel like you're getting a cheap experience. That's the point. Because no one can hide behind money. I can't hide behind how much money I make. You can't hide behind how much money you put into your appearance. Both of us have to actually show up at the table as human beings.
Woo!
You hear me?
Woo! Shout out to Trip. Shout out to Trip because I said and then women have gotten offended all my life. I don't date because I mean, in my line of work, I didn't have to.
See, I love dating. I don't
to
date for the benefit of a relationship. I like to date.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Sometimes I like to go to a movie. Sometimes I like companionship though. This is why I tell people in the beginning, like, I'm looking for, you know, a good time. And it don't got to end in a happy ending.
Man.
But I also ain't trying to get married.
But that's what I'm saying. Is like, when I say date, it's like this whole $300. Like, meet me at the park. Meet me at the park. Meet me at Zen Child or whatever. I don't know.
I know I'm all the way new to this, so yeah,
but see, this everything he said is you know what I mean? Like, word is bond. Like, we was talking about that on the show. This is how we was, especially as kids who was like backpack kids, like college kids at the time. Like, we was in slides and white tees. You know what I mean? Cats is buying $2,000 jeans to not even get attention from the girls we dating and we kicking it with. In our book bag and our white, like, I got $10 on her for clothes. You got a $20,000 chain on her. She's not even looking your way. Because like he said, the real comes out now. Now we living off merit. And I had to start building that up with me. You do know how to talk. You do know how to be respectful. You are kind. So lead with that. Don't lead with money. Don't lead with all you hoop. Don't lead with all you play football. You know what I mean? Lead with character.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
That's going to change the whole outcome. But when we lead with all that superficial shit, and let's say it works for us, that's the worst thing that can happen because then now we build a superficial. Things cannot grow in a lie.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So do we manipulate grandma when she's, 70 years old and, she could say whatever she want to say? But
absolutely.
But then we got to.
Absolutely. And I think that's another part of why the only unconditional relationship is between a parent and child. Because your kids are going to manipulate you. Your kids are going to lie to you. Your kids are going to tell you they don't like you. Your kids are going to tell you can't cook. They're going to say some hurt. Man, your kids are going to tell you the real. But again, I needed that. That's why I do my shadow work. I needed those triggers because why is what they're saying bother me? What if you can't cook? Why are you so mad? Learn how to cook.
Wow.
So they just did you a disservice. They did you a service, excuse me, but it depends on how you handle it. If I did nothing with the information Walisha gave me, I'm going to condemn Walisha. If everything she did, I did, and it worked for me, I'm going to praise Walisha. So it's not their journey. It's like our journey.
Someone would have said, lead with character, the real you. Yes, your authentic self. You know what I'm saying?
And if you can't lead with that person, work on that person. That is the universe. That is your soul saying you are not ready for what you think you're about to embark on. And you're only going to hurt yourself and that person by not being ready.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Jump in here, y'all. This is
my daughter told me that
Mrs. Payne gave her a bullet from his heart.
She said, Mom, I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but sometimes you do these long run-ons and I never know when you're going to stop. And you just keep giving me information. And then she's like, I've already checked out. She was 10 years old telling me this. Like, keep talking and keep talking. And I've checked out. And I was like, oh, really?
Yeah,
that's true. Because I was at parent.
I was like,
I'm still that way.
Can you let me know when I've gone too far?
Yeah.
Because like it's something I should feel in my spirit, but yeah.
That's where we also have to have boundaries with our kids. You know what I mean? I tell my kids out all the time. And to random people watching, they're just like, that's cold. And they know what's up. They know my body. Like, I don't lie to them. They know me. They don't know me from when I was younger, when we was outside, but they know me as a father. They know me like, I ain't taking no shit even from you. Because if I allow it once, I might as well allow everybody to walk all over me. So I ain't no doormat. You know what I mean? No one gets that opportunity. And that's where we have to learn to stand up for ourselves, even in our parenthood. Because a lot of times our kids is pushing us around.
Exactly.
I don't want to hurt their feelings. Man, fuck all that. Like, you going to get this smoke. You feel me? Like, you going to get this smoke because people in that world is going to do you way harsher.
Exactly.
People in that world is going to do you way fouler. So I'm preparing you. And I'm a beast. If you can deal with me, you can deal with anybody.
Exactly. That's
you can address anybody. You ain't going to have no worries in this world. And that's why it has to be that important.
And that's what I love. The children, they're able to go and do things that most children in the new day is not doing. Like I send them into the grocery store. I send them to just do little different things that I used to do when I was growing up because I want them to be prepared and not to fear things that they should not fear.
Yeah. And that has to be a taught. That has to be a taught behavior. People only understand the side of that's a learned behavior, so you're trying to teach it to them, but it has to be taught. You have to provide example. You have to become of that. A lot of people have become smart in their own right. They can recite the dictionary. Like, bravo. What the fuck is that going to do for your life?
Exactly.
Apply some of the words to your life.
You know,
kindness. You know what I mean? Like, apply some of that
they
shit.
suffer with the social, what they call that, the new thing now where you can't be around people.
Social anxiety.
Right. Yeah. So a lot of people, that's I wouldn't say new, but it's these terminologies are being fed to us, so we're picking up them as they're creating it, right? We're taking it on as our own. But a lot of people are dealing with that. So if people will be mindful to actually teach their children how to go out in society, how to go to the grocery store and buy groceries and communicate with the cashier, how to go to the bank and do bank services, how to do these other interactions, because now if not, you're going to be teaching them that they can live in the world alone. And feed off of social media and other media things rather than being connected. We have to be in touch and connect with one another, right? That's how vibrating is how we create it. And
that's a tricky kind of paradox, because we touched on that last week. Andre 3000 was talking about that, and he said, like, to be famous is unnatural. Like, this many people should not be aware of your existence. This many people should not have access to you. So I think the social anxiety is showing us we got to do our shadow work. We got to remove celebrity. We can't become more comfortable with being in 20 people's face all day. You feel me? Like, I don't like being around two people all day. Like, sometimes I need to be alone. I need to just hear nothingness. You know what I mean? And the point we need to be alone in the isolation is because we don't mess with ourselves when we're alone. I don't nitpick myself. I don't talk about my shortcomings. I don't worry about what I'm not doing right. I celebrate myself when I'm alone. So a lot of these people are getting addicted to becoming a celebrity. You have to have people around. You constantly need people giving you validation. You constantly need people reminding you where you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to do, how great you are. So how little do you think you do that for yourself? You feel me? That's why you don't want to spend no time alone, because you yell at yourself. You argue with yourself. I'm not good at this. I'm not doing it. I don't talk to myself like that. I talk to myself with love and respect, because my life has been extremely difficult, and I've been the one thing constant in my life. I showed up every single day. I showed up on the front line to every single triumph, to every single difficulty. If that's not a reason alone to love yourself, you know what I mean? You really got to step back from everything you're doing. You don't have a grip on reality. You're trying to live in a fantasy. You dig? And a lot of this has become, the internet has created this fantasy world that we can dump all of our reality on and pretend that it's real.
Exactly.
But the internet is fake. It's not a real thing.
And
it's a wall.
I beg to differ. I'm jumping right in the conversation. I beg to differ. I beg to differ. I'm going to jump right in.
Let me say
Water break.
Before you jump in, let me say this. I remember, first of all, when the internet came out, and they didn't want to say who actually created it. It was created, but nobody was taken. And then The Sims. And I can remember watching my niece and nephew telling them, like, the world is going to be like The Sims.
Yeah.
When we get older, and look at it now. So, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's my role, Amara. I'm the devil's advocate. I'm the objective. So, this is when we actually have a show, when me and Tim, differ in opinions. This is actually when the show starts. Or even Walli and I, we haven't got there yet. We're going to get her there.
Walli don't argue.
Yeah, she don't argue. Walli don't argue. No doubt. Yes, I'm the objective person.
Everything is the truth, right? Is that what we said?
Yeah, everything. But you can read some comments.
There is still, we're talking about emotional intelligence. When you hit that like button, there's still an emotional transference. When you hit that comment section and you tell that person how you feel,
going back and forth between one another.
There's still the emotional transference. So when you are Googling and oogling at that person's pictures or whatever, there's still an emotional transference. This is why I said, this is why the internet does ruin a lot of relationships, because you're constantly giving that emotional transference. And this is what we're going to do.
Internet relationships, or do the couple in the relationship ruin relationships?
I mean, both. What I'm saying, but right or wrong, the actual person had to hit like. The actual person had to entertain that DM or inbox.
That means the internet is exposing your flaws. It's not creating your problem.
No,
it's two different things.
Right. I'm saying it's a tool, right? So therefore, if your significant other is in somebody's DM, it's not the DM that's messing up your relationship. It's that person in the DM.
But if your significant other is in someone's DM, she's in someone's phone. She's in someone's bed. She ain't just in someone's DM. So how are we blaming the internet?
Well, we don't necessarily say that.
I would disagree. You are what you do.
Well, lot of
If you
people
cheat one area in life, you're a cheater. You cheat in multiple areas of your life.
I paint it with a broad stroke because some people like the safety of, okay, let me just entertain it. We're not going to actually do.
So you think they're not entertaining in real life too? You think they're just entertaining on the internet?
So I mean, 50-50.
No,
I do believe 50-50.
Let me jump in here.
Go ahead.
Wow,
Listen,
they're entertaining. They got a work husband, my nigga.
Listen, I've ended up in a couple of DMs before I knew the DM was a DM thing, and even most recently, I ended up in a DM, and I didn't know that. I was like, oh man, I forgot you can't just casually comment on people's pictures and posts. You can't do that.
You trying to get married? What's up,
man?
Listen. Like, no, I was just saying.
Someone absolutely agree. Someone wouldn't agree. It's emotional transfer. Go ahead.
Hey, this is nice. I never thought of that. That's super cool. Where'd you get it from? Next thing you know, we're having this long, broad-off conversation, and we're meeting up for coffee.
Yeah.
And I was just like, whoa.
But that's why I think the emotional also currency and transparency is being intentional up front. If we're just meeting for coffee, or if I'm trying to bed you, if I need a stepmom, like you have to be intentional because that is working in the laws of attraction. You're letting them know what you want to resonate with. And I feel like a lot of times it's a mystery. We play a guessing game with people to figure out what we really want.
Amar, social, we got to differentiate what social and being friendly is. If you're a social person, that's fine. Nobody cares if you're a social person.
Mm-hmm.
No, they're not.
They are the same thing.
No, they're
you have to be friendly to be social.
Listen.
Yes. People wouldn't want to kick it with you if you ain't friendly.
I'm talking about the
we talk about the same thing. There's harmless flirting. We talk about the same
harmless flirting.
There's very
harmless flirting. Oxymoron.
Women have done it with me all the time. I'm thinking we going somewhere we ain't gonna know. She bored. There's harmless.
But this is Marcus Graham, though. This is Marcus Graham.
And Kevin Samuels.
I'm not saying what you think it has to be, but what I'm gonna say is, I really truly believe because I'm always like this innocent little bumblebee that's like, oh, we're having fun over here.
Is it innocent?
Man, listen. Y'all turned me into a vampire, not me. Like, I really didn't choose to be a vampire. Y'all made me be this, like, you know, on the hunt and the prowl. I was out just trying to have a good ass time. Like, who's vibing and who's like building business. I'm really like thinking about the most innocent shit when somebody's trying to approach me about sex. Literally.
But can I paint a picture now for women out there? Can you see why it's so hard for men to approach women? Like, we have no idea how y'all are going to take what we're saying. You know what I mean? And favor forces the bold. So sometimes it seems like the bold niggas is winning. But the ones that us are trying to be respectful and kind and nice, it don't feel like we winning in that department. But I want a respectful man. You sure, sis? Is you sure?
I've had men come up and I couldn't do nothing but just laugh and say, is this really, should I record you now? Because this is really happening. I've had men come up and say, listen, I know you want this.
They said there's nothing harmless about flirting.
Listen. I know exactly what you need. You look like the type of women that need this right here and have in my pants. Like, really?
Yeah.
Like, I don't look like I need money.
But that's,
I'm
going to speak for men, not all men, but I'm going to speak for men. And that comes from other women. See, a lot of times the women we think we're dealing with is taking personal what's happening. But if I've dealt with 10 women and 9 just let me have my way, what do you think I'm going to try to do with you? You know what I mean? And women do the same thing. Y'all dealt with men who are a certain way. So as soon as you deal with me, you're just you have your guard up that this is a possibility.
See, this is why I like Chris Rock. Let me see if I can find it.
Okay, so while he's looking for that, I think this is why we started the show off by saying the emotional intelligence and the shadow work, they go hand in hand. Because now, if I'm flirting and I just like to give people my good energy without giving them the package, I set the presence for that. Like, I have to know who I'm flirting with. I have to know who's able to handle this and who can't. What room am I walking in? Now I know not to end up in random people's inboxes because I realize it can go way left, even though I'm trying to go straight and they want me to go left.
But I think also a lot that's being undercover is men have not had a voice for a long time. And I think a lot of our representation was women. So women were deciding, this is what turned men on. Men love this, men love that. And we ain't never said or co-signed none of these things. So, I love nerdy librarians. So you can be flirting with me by being a nerd.
I want to say here,
you don't gotta have your shit all out.
I can't find this segment, but I love comedians because they take the realest things and make the truest things and make them funny. So Chris Rock said on his stand-up, no man is nice for the sake of being nice. Now, I know it's an exaggeration. But he says, you know, hey, can I get your bags? How about some D? Can I carry this for you? How about some D? Because in the back of our mind, even Dave Chappelle says, you know, when they're on the elevator and they see an attractive woman get on the elevator, what's actually going on in the thoughts. So when you watch that skit, it's like the most grotesque, nastiest things that are going. So even in that, like you said, it's manipulation. Oh, I'm just being friendly. Yeah. No, come on, bro. You trying to holler. Yeah.
So men,
they want to
naturally are being nice with the hopes for package
to see where they can go.
Okay.
See how far they can go.
Because once we get in the door, we in there.
Messy.
See, that's the difference with men and women. Like, a man will leave for petty little reasons. You flirting with other men, they'll leave. But a man, once he feels like he's gotten in with that woman, he's in there.
Let's hear this one.
A man gonna be a man. A man is basically as faithful as his options.
That's real.
And you see all these fat Republican guys going, I would never do such a thing. This is a travesty. I'm like, nobody's trying to blow you. You know, 20-year-old girls trying to blow orange hats. Nobody trying to get Newt Gingrich, son.
So
Eric says black men don't cheat. Isn't that a song?
Black men don't cheat.
That's a song, right?
That's true.
Black men don't cheat.
Okay, so here's the Summer says respect and kindness never goes out of style. Only a woman, who doesn't know what a real man is or never experienced a real man won't understand that.
I disagree. I think a lot of people have this expectation that since I'm being a good person, I have to be good to you. If you have to teach me somewhat of how to treat you. So if you don't respect yourself, it's going to be hard for me to respect you. And a lot of people are just trying to demand respect. Again, manipulation. But no, you have to show me how to respect you and that you respect yourself before I even think about respecting you.
And that's what I was saying last hour, is that when two people come together, or when you come together in a group, you're coming together with a whole lifestyle before you even knew this person. So you have your own ideology, your own ideas. So I think in a group or in a one-on-one, we're all teaching each other how to treat each other in that aspect. So you shouldn't just be so quick to always, we don't agree, so let me just throw the baby out with the bathwater. There should be a learning curve there.
I agree. But, I mean, that could be a tell, too, if you want to leave that quickly. I don't think we always need an excuse to stay. Because why aren't we already moving in a way that I would want to be here? Why we got to find reasons to stay? Oh, we got a kid. Oh, we in a relationship. Oh, we live together. That's not principle. That's not love. That sounds like obligation.
So I met a woman the other day on social media. She called me for birth work. She starts telling me about her situation, and she is with a man. Secretly married him. I think a couple people in her family knows, but her mother doesn't know. So he tells, this is the way he talks to her children. I'm kind of nervous for her, but he told the daughter, I guess she had done something, and then she said something about his character, and now he's like, well, you can never come around me again because of the way that you are and this and that and the other. Like, he's already treating this family super mean and stuff like that. I forgot why I was going into that.
Yeah. That's my thought. Nah, but and what I got from what you're saying is I think that is our highest self. We always
relationship. You're saying we stay together for relationship. So this woman is pregnant by this man. So, but all of the disruption he's causing within her household, she's still staying with him. Yeah. Even though it's not her place. She's choosing to stay there with him. Something that he does, I was telling her this on the phone, something that he does still equals love to her. Which is why that shadow work is so good. Something he does regularly still says love, because it's all of this hurt. It's all of this pain he's causing you and your children. I like that. But it's one thing that says, I think he still loves me, because why else would you stay here underneath this type of condition?
Because it's too embarrassing to leave and deal with it and address it. That's why it's a secret.
But this is I like the caveat that Walli brings to the table, is that because we still cannot define love, right? You know, some people say it's long suffering. Some people say it's this, it's that, sacrifice, all these things. But this is why some people don't walk away, is because in their heart and in their mind, they say, I still love this person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's not a logical thing where it says, okay, you're checking off all these check marks, these bad check marks.
Yeah.
So now because you checked off all these bad check marks, I'm going to leave. Sometimes we do deal with people based on the hope of this person will change. Mario says, wait a minute. Some of us men just want to vibe out and see where their head is before we even consider going further. It's true that some men are just nice because it feels good. And then it goes back to on both sides, Mario. Men and women sometimes build based off of potential. I see the potential of what you could be. I think where it goes wrong is when you try to change that person. That person from the inside out has to want to be this person or the idea of this person that they want to be. So you really, this is where communication comes at, where he says, where do you see yourself in 5 years? What are your goals? What are your plans? Because then that person, you're drawing out from that person what they want, not what you want. You can't look at this person as, okay, they graduated from college, they got a good job, I can make them into the person that I want them to be. Hell no. That's where you're going to fail yourself. You have to draw from that person what they want and then decide based on their goals and dreams, I can deal with that and I want to ride this out.
And I'm going to have to interject because to me, love definitely has a definition. And we know what love isn't. So you definitely know what love is. But love to me is giving somebody the ability to hurt you and trusting that they don't. And we've just lived these lies. We're so embarrassed to leave, so we call it love. We're so embarrassed that this couple does this and we don't, so we call it love. But it's really infatuation. It's obligation. So that's why you're still living that lie. Because every night you say I love you, instead of saying I'm obligated to you. Tell the truth. Everything ain't love just because it make you feel good either.
That definition
a lot of people don't know what love is. If you don't love yourself, you don't know what love is.
But that definition is problematic because we as humans are fallible. So, I mean, of course, you trust me not to hurt you, but going into it, like, you're going to fail me at some point.
Right. So then love will be me forgiving you or me staying with you even though
I like that.
Right?
I like that. I do like that.
But it's all steps. It's never one thing.
Right.
Yeah, there's levels to everything.
But that's what I'm saying, to reduce it to one definition.
It has to, though, because it's trust. What else would it be?
It's more than that.
It's trust.
Yeah.
That's what relationships are in a nutshell. This is why so many are going wrong, because there's no trust. But again, you are finding reasons to stay together. That's a bad relationship. Yeah. There should be no reasons that we part. That's why we're together. We got to find 10 reasons every day why we want to be.
I know you're going to find this problematic, but listen, Auntie M didn't trust Uncle Jake, but she stayed with him because she loved him. She did.
That's not love, man.
You can say that. I get it. I get it. You can say
that.
You can say that.
I wonder what type of health problems that this person had.
Who didn't say they didn't have any?
No.
Sticking around ain't love. Just because you stick around don't mean y'all love.
But in her heart, she loved Uncle Jake.
I disagree.
I'm trying to tell you that it was not love. I'm just trying to tell you that it's a shadow work. It's something that happened in her childhood, something that happened in her youth, something that she's been carrying, that marker. And she's holding him in that space. So he does one thing right. It could be flowers every Tuesday. It could be making the bed. It could be one thing. But all of the horrible things that makes you, because trust, that's a whole mental mind fuck. Like to have to be looking over your shoulder. That's fight or flight constantly. You're in fight or flight. That's not
How was that love?
How was that? Right.
Who wants that kind of love? That sounds
in order to love a person, you have to love with himself.
Okay.
You got to check up.
I believe like this. If this, I'm not here to question your beliefs or anything, but Jesus already knew we was going to mess up the bag. So he said, listen, I'm going to die for y'all anyway. You know what I'm saying? He already knew. Humans are going to mess up the bag, but God, send me down here so I can die. So that's why the whole biblical verse has no greater love have no man than this, than one would lay down his life for his friend. Even though I know you ain't going to appreciate it, I'm going to step in front of the bullet for you. You know what I'm saying? So that's not even a trust thing. It's like, I love you. I care for you. I love you.
The greatest, Whitney taught us this. The greatest love you can achieve is loving yourself. So that saying doesn't even make sense.
So right or wrong, you wouldn't jump in front of the bullet for your child?
Yeah, that's not my friend though. Remember your saying that you just said.
So love is all the time.
I don't love my friend the same way I love my kid. I hope people don't.
So love is conditional then. So love is conditional.
Love has levels, and love can be conditional. Love can also be unconditional. I have no unconditional love for my friends. I never will. I have all unconditional love for my kids. How is that the same thing?
Love can be universal. I mean, you don't have to be blood.
I didn't say love wasn't universal. I said love's not the same. You're trying to define two different loves for two different people.
But 10 minutes ago, you reduced that to one definition. So that's what I'm saying. It could
What else is important in a relationship and trust? I can't be with you all day. See, this is why people need locations. This is why people call their spouse every 10 minutes. That's not love. Right. If I can't trust that you're out there doing the right thing, so how can love grow in that?
I get that.
That's important. You're trying to have two things at once that negate each other.
No, I'm not. So let me break it down again. Okay, so we got Auntie M and Uncle Jake, but we got Grandma over here where basically her grandson keeps stealing money out of her pocketbook. You know what I'm saying? She knows it's hurting her, but she ain't gonna be like, I'm cutting him off. She constantly tries to work with him. That's love. So the same way, again, equivalating that. I know you out here in these streets playing me, but I'm still got your plate. I still got your. When I'm look at the equivalent.
You're telling me I can't define love in one word, but you literally just defined it in one way.
But it's not a trust situation. So as Jay-Z broke it down, you must love me. He's going through 3 different scenarios. I shot my brother. There's no reason. If I really loved him, I wouldn't have shot my brother. But in the next day in the hospital, you asking to come see me. There's no reason why you should be wanting to come see me. I've wronged you. You must love me.
How can you determine that? How can you decide where someone's willing to take something that happened to them?
Mom, I sold you crack. He's pouring out his soul, like all these things that why you should not have trusted me. I did all these things, but you still did for me. You still care for me despite of the things that I've done. That's love, my brother.
I don't understand how anything you just said connects to any of the other. None of that made zero sense.
You're saying it doesn't?
Because for one, you decided that me choosing to stay was love, which is false. If you're an alcoholic and I'm hanging around you, my love for you could be cutting you off and no longer enabling you to be drunk. So how can you say choosing to stay is love? Again,
what I'm saying is
that makes it false.
I'm choosing to care for you beyond the conditions.
I can care for you on the other side of the world. I don't have to be close to you to care for you.
That's your perception.
But that's why it's false. You're saying that's obligation. You're saying I have to be here to love you.
I didn't say you have to do anything.
You did.
I did not.
That's like Big Mama cutting them off. If she decides not to cut them off, it's because she loves them. You literally just said that.
You're not hearing me.
So if she cuts the kid off, she doesn't love him?
Let me finish.
Because you're not answering none of my questions.
I'm trying to. So what I'm saying is love is a choice. That's what I'm saying. You don't have to do anything. So therefore, even you could be playing me. If you're in trouble, I'm still going to look out for you.
But do you see how that's different than the analogy that you gave? The analogy you gave, you said Big Mama is going. The grandkid is going in Big Mama's purse. Big Mama could decide to cut him off. Big Mama doesn't. That's her loving. That's literally what you said.
She made a choice.
No, you said it after. But in the beginning, if all you said her choosing to stay is love. It's not. She can cut them off.
All of my analogies are lining up. You just don't want to hear me, my brother. Go ahead.
For me, please.
That's going to be a European
My
definition.
point is, you can still cut someone off and love them. You choosing to keep them around is not love.
Love is a choice. That's what Summer said.
That's what I was trying to say.
I'm saying.
Love is definitely universal.
But it disproves what you're saying because you took one scenario where it can happen. Love can happen in any scenario.
So again, I gave you the first.
Loving yourself is probably the greatest love you can achieve because it's hard to love self.
It is the greatest love you can achieve.
You have to get yourself out of the bed. You have to get yourself out in the cold. You have to get yourself breakfast. You have to make sure you have enough water. You have to make sure you're whole in health. That is the ultimate self-love. Like you have to really go through all those things. Again, so love, the definition, an intense feeling of deep affection, a great interest and pleasure in something, feel deep affection for someone or like or enjoy very much. Okay, so these are the.
Is trust anywhere in there?
Hold on one second.
That's my definition.
Okay,
not
there we go.
You asked me my definition. Not a dictionary. What was your definition? Did you even have a definition?
A person or a thing that one loves. And wait, where did I leave? I think that's all of
Where does it say you have to stick around?
No.
Now you're spinning. Your analogy.
Now you're spinning.
That was your analogy.
Now you're spinning, Tim.
That was your analogy.
No, it's not my analogy.
Okay. Grandma doesn't cut them off. That's because of love. That's literally what you said. I could cut someone off and still love them.
All I said, what I've said was, grandson is going to in her purse. So the humanistic thing is to say, I'm going to cut grandson off. No, I'm not.
No.
I'm going to still provide for him a place to stay. I'm still going to cook for him. I'm still going to look out for him.
That sounds insane. The humanistic thing is not to cut people off. That's the perspective of one person. That's anecdotal. I don't think to cut people off in that situation.
And that seems it seems like a mental mind fuck. Like to be able to say, you're my family, you're my blood. You can treat me as dirty as anybody off the street and I'm still going to be good for you.
That's not that's you not loving yourself.
Listen,
you guys are spending it today, man. I get it though.
Listen, I am saying exactly as I hear it come across. So I'm not putting words in your mouth. If you telling me as a mom, as I get older, I need to be prepared for people to steal from me and still take care of them. I'm telling you, I'm going to be mentally out of my mind. If I do that, I'm insane. Because how can I live in peace and happiness and that's all connected to love and still have you fuck me over?
We're not saying that grandma didn't deal with grandson any differently. We're not saying that. We're saying that, hey, I know you, I understand you, and I love you. So therefore, I'm not going to keep giving you money, but you can still stay here.
Because I'm stealing it from you. You don't have to give it from me.
Exactly.
No.
That's why I don't understand this analogy at all.
I get that you're trying to prove me wrong. So so
let's
go.
Can
I finish?
I'm bringing it so we can grow and gain understanding.
Exactly. So therefore, when you deal with somebody, you deal with them differently, but that doesn't mean you still don't care about them. You don't look out for them. So that is therefore a choice, because I could come from a humanistic standpoint and say, I could treat you accordingly to how you treat me, which goes for a tit for tat of matching energy. A lot of times we do that as humans.
You keep on using this word human instead of something.
And wait, time out. How does this not fit into my destination of giving someone the ability to hurt you, but trusting that they don't? How is literally your analogy not describe my definition?
Well, we're talking about an action right now. So love is an action word too. Do you agree or do you not agree?
But you still ain't answering my question. How does what you're saying not describe my definition?
I think you're trying to twist me up, but I'm just asking you. I'm asking you a question. Is love an action word?
Yes.
Okay.
So can you answer my question now? How does what you just explained not explain my definition of love?
I didn't say it didn't, but you
did.
Tim, I just said you can't reduce it to that. That's all I said.
So that's saying it doesn't. Either it does or it doesn't. You can't find the middle and say sometimes it does. Either it does or it doesn't.
Reduce it to one aspect.
I never
love
said
is
it was one aspect.
So but then all I just said was where we agree and we meet in the middle of the road. Love is a choice. That's all I'm saying. Love is a choice.
But no one's disregarding.
I'm not saying you're wrong, bro.
What I'm saying
I never said you're wrong, and that's where the defense is coming in. I never said you were wrong.
I didn't say you did say I was wrong.
But I'm just saying.
I like everybody to get out your mirrors.
I said
everybody gets out your mirrors.
I'm fine.
Because I still don't.
I'm fine. I stand on what I said.
I still don't understand the outline.
Up in front of your
I don't understand the outline of creating this obligation. That's infatuation to me.
Yes.
That's manipulation. Saying I'm your family. I do this for you, so that's love.
Okay, to answer Walli, I'm not going to be a doormat. Okay, so let's get that straight. I'm not going to be a doormat, but at the same time, I'm not going to cut my children off because they've wronged me, right?
But you can't call that.
I'm not going to cut my wife off.
That's not
because,
love.
And I'm not. Let me stop playing with the crowd. Let me stop playing because that was manipulation right there. I didn't say it was an obligation.
You're saying that's love. That's not love.
I'm saying it's obligation.
It's okay.
Oh, I'm calm. This is how I talk every week. Now it's too much.
I didn't say it was too much.
Come
I didn't say it was too much.
I'm fine.
I just said it was a choice.
And no one who has disagreed that. And it's the 10th time you said it. Who has disagreed with that?
Well, we can move on because I'm gonna stand on
That's all I'm saying. You're describing obligation. This is why a lot of people think they're in love and they're not. You're describing obligation. I can't say I do for you, so I love you. I cannot tell you what I do for you to say I love you. That is
in love and being.
If I gotta explain to you what I do for you, that's not love.
I'm trying
That's the same thing that he said. People don't see the grace until you point it out to them. If I have to point out, that's not love.
Agreed. So therefore, when I perform an action, I don't need to spell this out for you, but there are acts of love. This is why we have the love languages. Am I right or am I wrong?
Which was not written for Black people, by the way.
Come on. Okay.
So we can say,
well, he's referenced these five love languages as well.
Listen,
you can't pick and choose, Walli.
I wasn't saying,
come on now.
Listen, I'm only saying to educate. I'm not in this battle. You understand? Because I live free. I'm a lone ranger. Okay. So Eric says, I disagree that love is a choice. Okay, he must think it's something else because he disagrees.
I think everything is a choice. Some things you decide whether you want to make that choice or not. It's still a choice though. You can do something different. That's why it's a choice. You have options. If you only had one option, it wouldn't be a choice. It would just be what's designated to you.
I feel like this. I'm still searching for the grand definition of me because I go based on feeling so much. So I love a lot of things. I love a lot of people. But I'm still kind of, I think, in the middle of like laying my life for a person that I just met that I really infatuated.
You wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't, right? Exactly. But still start investing in them and saying, hey, I'm going to give you all of my energy. I'm going to plan and build with you this empire. It's still like, ooh, how do I know when I get to that place? How do I know when I get there?
Perfect.
I feel like it depends on.
I love
feel like
that.
It depends on what you're looking for. You know what I mean? It depends on what you see as your end game. And I think that's where we got to start loving ourselves and asking ourselves, where do we really want to end up? Do I want to end up working or not working and they work? Do I want to end up living in this neighborhood? Do I want to live on a farm? Like, and those things will attract the type of people we should be looking for. But I feel like there's so many people that we feel don't fit that mold. We wear these masks. We call things love when it's not. We try to manipulate people into getting what we want. And that to me is the absence of anything positive. It's the absence of anything healthy. I would never call that love. Please, if y'all live like that, don't tell me you love me. You can't.
Again, let's go back to what Tim said. Let's bring it to center. Because according to Tim, I agree. But according to Eric, I agree. Because let's go back a few comments. God doesn't choose to love us. So let's bring that into your example, right? So a person you just met, you can't give your all to that person. You can't just go all out for that person. But a person that you carried for 9 months, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You can easily do it because this person doesn't have to prove anything to you or anything like that. So again, this is where the definitions are different. This is where love is conditional because you carry this life inside of your belly for 9 months. So this person has hey mom, can I come out the womb? Can I do the dishes for you? Can I help you out? No, this is a connection that you have. But a person that you just met, you don't have that unconditional love for, but let's say you go through the trials and the tribulations, the ups and the downs and the things of that nature. They've proven to you over and over again, I'm here for you. I can be there for you. Then after maybe about 10 years, that can almost match. It won't be the love of your child, but it can almost match to a certain extent. So again, a lot of times we find ourselves in a situation, we don't choose to love a lot of people. But we do. Anyway, there's no explanation for it. So this is why I was not disagreeing with Tim. I said, we just can't reduce it to one thing because even music soldier, I love to equivalate things to music because it was like, love, so many people use your name in vain. So many people don't know what the hell you are. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to be right. I'm just trying to say, in my opinion, there are so many definitions of it. So again, going back to what the common theme for the last 3 weeks, 2 things can be true.
Yeah. And I think that's what proves what I'm saying. I don't need to be right. I'm just right in this situation. But I mean, this is me. Have y'all seen this show?
I love it.
So that proves and it festers in love is unconditionally with your kids in Walli's terms, in the birth work that you do. And I wouldn't say that it's easy to form a connection with your kid, even if you're pregnant to them. It's actually one of the hardest things to do. But the reason I believe in unconditional love is because postpartum. So I'm not going to say you don't love your kid because you're going through postpartum.
Right, exactly.
He can't comment and then not speak. So what was the cap about?
No, piggybacking off what he said.
Okay, yeah, when I said the love was cap.
Cap out through the cap.
Yeah, the love was cap. It is, you know what I mean? But that's why I say that is the epitome of unconditional love when it comes to your kids. Like I was saying, I'm not going to look at a mother who's going through postpartum and say you don't love your kid.
Right.
And more women go through postpartum and don't. So it's really not easy to form that connection when your kid first comes in.
You had to prove or do. It's just, you love them. You know what I'm saying?
Right, but that's why I'm saying love also isn't. You can't look at the emotional connection and say this is love because emotions lie.
If that same child was to steal from me and continue to steal from me, I would still love them for sure.
Yeah, but you can't stay here.
But I would not aid them into thinking that, just because I love you, that you can have a place to stay.
That is not love.
We never said love was
that's what a lot of people.
That's
what a lot of people do. Well, I'm not going to cut them off. That's not love.
With the lady that I've met, the client, that's kind of like where she was at, and I was letting her know that I figured out a long time ago because I've been in abusive relationships that when I stayed, it was because it was something that was attached to me still to this person that was hopeful that something would change, something would click, and that they would still stay this other way rather than being this mean way to me. I was hoping that my good juju and juices would flow all over them and douse them into goodness, but it didn't work. It doesn't work that way. Yeah, exactly. And even with my first child, I kept him because, one, everybody was trying to force me to give an abortion because of my age. But in the back of my mind, I was like, hey, this will help unite me and his father, which it never did.
Yeah.
And so I now say that.
Eric Miley says you're expressing love as an action. It can be. But there's a lot of Cains throughout history that have killed their Abels. You know, they have killed their brothers and done bad to their brothers. You can't say that I didn't love my brother. I was just in a state. I was in a bad state. So again,
I mean, but you can say you didn't love your brother. That's possible. That's what I mean by love has become an obligation. I have to love you just because we're in the same family. That's not love. There's a lot of brothers who don't love each other.
Yeah, true.
So you can't just say just because they're brothers that maybe there's love.
I'm not saying just because we share the same bloodline that we go to automatically love each other. I'm just saying there's been cases where we can't say deeds equivalent to what love is, but we do have to close. So I'll start. First of all, I want to thank our guests, Dre and Neighborhood Stepdaddy is in the building. You know what I'm saying? For just observing and seeing the rhetoric. Again, this is what makes the show when Tim and I do differentiate in opinions and things of that nature. So, you know, of course, but we don't play this up for y'all. This is what you get. Is what you see is what you get. It is totally real. You know what I'm saying? We don't argue just to get views or anything like that. We do stand on our points. So, again, this is Good Friday. Thank you, Summer, Eric, Adrian, Trinae, Deshaun, Drea. Who else is on the check-in? And anybody, Mario, man, you've been in here this whole time as well. So again, before I pass it off to Walli, share this now. We had so many people on the check-in. I know there's some people that did not hit that like button yet. So if you have not hit the like button already, it doesn't hurt you. You watched our show for 2 hours. Right. The least you can do is go ahead and hit the like button and share this on your page. If that's any payment for, you know, our time and our intellectual property, please do so. Tonight I will be at CJ Soul Food for karaoke. It is a great time, 4 hours long, 4 hours strong. We do this from 8 to midnight. It's a good time. I play R&B, family music, and we celebrate the best birthdays in the city. So I'm your auntie's favorite DJ. See y'all next week. Go ahead, Walli.
It's your girl, Walli. And listen, thank y'all for holding me down. Thank you for allowing me to bring my accent on the stage today and share it with all of you. Much appreciation. And listen, love yourself because it's only one you out there, okay? And even with the technology, we can't create another you. So you have to start with himself first, man. And I appreciate all of you. Love is the key.
Yes, it is.
To self.
I'm sure. The show today was freaking amazing. And this is why I like when people see this in real time. And this is what I was referring to in the show. Like, me and Delayne love each other. But it has to look like this sometimes. Love is not always agreeing with people. Love is not always doing what they want to do. Sometimes love is challenging people. Sometimes love is standing on how you feel. But that love is also letting it go. Moving on. You know what I mean? So all of these things to me are a healthy relationship. This is why the show gives y'all so many different dynamics that you should be paying attention in real life. We got to stop getting so down on ourselves when we experience certain things, especially when we know the love is real. Because if you live through love, you're going to put love in everything you do. You dig? So this show is just an extension of who we are as people. And we need people to understand that. Like, this is how we are. This is what we do in the real world. And this is just to inspire and encourage y'all to be yourself. Don't change who you are to get that love. Don't force that love on your career, on your job. Actually find things that put you in your highest excitement. Find things that make you smile. Date people that you're proud of, that you want to tell people you dig? Like, move in a way that you want your kids to move in. And to me, that's the ultimate love. You dig? It's just putting good into the world. Like, everybody has an opinion. Everybody has a perspective. That's why everyone needs a voice, because we need to hear how everybody feels. And all in this show is more so about agreeing than disagreeing. Right. So,
or coming to the middle ground. As the saying, the common theme is two things can be true. Yeah. So we just take different routes to get there.
Absolutely. And we need that, because y'all will get bored if we just all was yes people and agree with everything that each other said and everything y'all said in the comments. because we're gonna get rough with y'all too. You dig? Like, because we all need this, man. We've been so complacent on each other. We've been so complaintless, mediocre. You dig? And this is something my mentor tells me that sticks with me forever. He said, monetize your greatness. That is 2024. Monetize your greatness. The things you're great at, the people who are you're great with, give them everything. Spend a year. Give them everything. Give them your time. Give them your attention. Give them your transparency. Give them your truth. And to me, that's the best love you can give them. You dig? And when it's time for y'all to go y'all separate ways, you hug them. You love them. You send them on their way. Send them with a care package. You check on them. But do your thing. You dig?
Yeah, definitely.
So we love y'all. We out.
Brandon Jacobs just said the song selection is "I Want to Know What Love Is." I want to know what love is. This was a dope show, man. Big ups to everybody. Man, y'all be easy. Peace.